everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. And yeah, if you guys want to support the show, then be sure to subscribe, like, share, review, and comment down below whether you're with us live, your thoughts and your questions, or if you're watching on the replay, definitely comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. So, with that, let's dive right on in. So, first, I'm going to do a review of season 18 of The Real Housewives of Orange County. Then I'll talk a little bit more about Tamra and the backlash that she's getting when she came out and said she's, quote, on the spectrum, which is highly disrespectful. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the demise of Heather Dubrow and what I think she can do to have a redemption arc. So, you guys, as you come in, be sure to say hi in the chat box. Let me know where you're watching from and what your thoughts are on this season. So, let's talk about the girls. Let's start with Shannon. Okay, so we all know that having a DUI storyline is sort of now the bread and butter of housewives. You know, Shannon has a DUI. Karen Huger from Potomac has a DUI. Gina had a DUI. I'm not liking this trend. Let's just stop it. But I will say for Shannon, I do feel bad for her. I think she was in a bad spot. Now, whether or not she should continue to drink, that's her personal choice. We'll see how that continues to roll out for her. But I do think the DUI should have been a big wake up call. I think that Shannon is having her redemption season. You know, everyone is Team Shannon. Everybody in the comments loves her. She's funny, she's relevant, and she's that girl this season. She really is. Even with the DUI, she is that girl. Every storyline kind of revolves around her. Heather always has Shannon's name in her mouth. Tamra always has her name in her mouth. Alexis always has her name in her mouth. And then all the other girls are kind of rallying around her in a really good, happy, healthy way, which I love. And I also love that Shannon finally has sort of stepped out of being kind of like an abused woman, whether it's physically, allegedly, with David, whether it's emotionally and mentally, you know, allegedly with David and also with John Jansen. I like that she stepped out of that and she's like, I don't need him anymore. I see him for who he is. And I'm my own woman and I want to move forward. I'm kicking him to the curb rather than the version of Shannon that was doing everything she could to keep a man, you know, her man, whether it was buying him clothes, whether it was, you know, bringing him on TV, footing the bill for half of their relationship, all of that. Let this be a PSA to you, ladies. You should not have to keep a man. You should not have to basically pay him to be around you and to be with you. He doesn't deserve you. You deserve way more than that. Don't let it come down to a DUI to wake you up that you're in a toxic relationship. I love Shannon and talking about her girls going away to school. That's really fun. And then these are my 2 cents on the lawsuit with what's going on with John Jansen and the 75K. Number one, any real man would not be asking her to pay this money back. It wouldn't have been a loan. If you're really her man, it would have been a gift. Honey, you need help with the bills, here's some money. Honey, you want to get some enhancement, here's the money. It is what it is. We can joke all day and take shots at Ryan, I mean Jen's boyfriend, but at least he's stepping up and taking care of her and her family and her kids, you know, which is way better than what we're seeing a lot of these other men do on these shows. So there's that. So I'm definitely Team Shannon when it comes to all of that. And we'll talk more about Shannon when we talk about the other women because her storyline and who she is so baked into everything. Now let's talk about Heather Dubrow. And I'll dive a little bit deeper into that later. But for Heather, I will say this. I think the reason why she's having such a bad season, and I mean like a bad season, like I am a Heather Dubrow stan. I really, really love Heather, but I'm finding it very, very hard to root for her or to be on her side this season. I think for 2 reasons. The number one reason is I think Heather Dubrow is sad. And by sad, I don't mean, oh, you're pathetic. I don't mean that type of sad. I mean emotionally sad. I don't think she's happy. I don't think she's fulfilled in her life. I don't think she's happy in her marriage. I don't think she's happy as a person, as a woman. Maybe as a mother, I'm not going to touch that, especially with her children. That's not my place to speak on that. So I'm going to just kind of stay in my lane and be respectful there. I don't think she's happy with her friendships. I don't think that Heather is happy. She gives me really sad energy. And I think the fact that she's sad, coupled with the fact that for all the things she has in this world, all the material things, all of the check boxes, she has low self-esteem. She is a pick me to Tamra Judge. She listens to Tamra. Tamra puts stuff in her ear, winds her up, and then she goes bees Tamra's mouthpiece. Tamra, who talks about you like a dog in every single confessional. Tamra, who talks about you like a dog to all the other women on the show. Excuse me, Mr. Burrow, like, are you that thirsty for friends that you're willing to coddle Tamra Judge? Literally makes zero sense to me. It was so clear that this last episode, when Heather turned on Shannon, oh, Shannon, you're using this episode and the episode before, oh, you used me with the Jeff Lewis interview and you came and you cried to me and blah, blah, blah. Heather, nobody used you. It's the show. Duh. When people want certain angles and certain storylines and certain narratives out there, of course they strategically go to people and talk about it. You do it too, Heather. She's not using you. She's on the show. She wants to get her narrative out there. She wants to get her storyline out there. The only reason why you flipped on Shannon was because Tamara got in your ear and was like, oh, Shannon used you, Heather. And because you have such low self-esteem and you're so thirsty to be up Tamara's butt, you fell for it hook, line, and sinker when, hello, ding dong, Tamara is your number one hater. Your number one hater. Tamara is the one who was feeding stuff to Katie. Tamara was the one who was feeding stuff to Gina. And you don't get that, Heather? Wake up. Ding, 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 hello. Did all the champagne go to your head? Wake up, Heather. And I personally love Heather Dubrow. I think she's fabulous. I think she's great, and I think she's fabulous. I think she's great, but I'm just sort of like, where is your self-esteem? And I think she's sad. I really do. And I think she's sad for a couple reasons. I'll just jump into it now since I'm like talking about her. So here we go. So this is sort of what I wanted to get into, and I'm talking about Heather Dubrow's demise and what her redemption arc could be, okay? So I talked about it before. I don't think she's happy. I don't think she's happy in her marriage. Don't forget about the cheating allegations that came out with Terry Dubrow. Like, allegedly, he was cheating on her for a while with multiple women, some women in his office. They had the whole alleged paparazzi Disney World, stunt, whatever it may be. I personally think she did call the paparazzi, but at the same time, I don't really care. Again, it's the name of the game. All of these, quote, celebrities, influencers, reality stars, actors, whatever you want to call them, they're all doing that. They're all calling the paparazzi. They're all calling back for it. They're all planting stories because they want to be relevant. They want to be known. They want to be in the news. They want their angle out there. I do think that Heather could have been honest and said, yeah, it was Terry and I decided to do this because there was all these rumors out there and it was affecting our children. Just own it and be honest with it. I think that's kind of where she tripped up. But I don't care how strong your marriage is. And I don't think that Heather and Terry are the strongest they've been. We've seen them fight. But even if you have the strongest of marriages, anytime there's cheating allegations, particularly public ones, it puts a chink in the armor. Doesn't mean you guys are going to break up, doesn't mean it's true, but unfortunately, it is a poisonous seed that is planted. And hopefully you can get rid of that seed. But then we also see the tension between her and Terry with the hot mic moment. When she was like, don't disparage me on TV. She didn't say disparage. I forget the word. She admonish. Don't admonish me on television, because he was like getting annoyed with her when she was talking and he wanted to talk. And you could just tell that there was like friction there. And then also, I always kind of squint at couples who are always the super busy couple. He's super busy with work. She's super busy with work. doing renovations, flying here, going there, schedules this, put it on the calendar. I'm always like the super busy couples. I'm always like, well, when do you spend time together? Are you just avoiding each other? Is it a business partnership at this point? So the super busy couples, I'm always like, what's really going on with this? And that's kind of the vibe I get from Heather and Terry. It's yes, they're husband and wife. Yes, they love each other. But at this point, their brand is them as a couple, that I think it would be too much for them to separate. I thought the same thing about Kyle and Mauricio, and we see what happened there. So you never know. Not saying I want that for Heather and Terry. I want them to be happy. I want them to be together, and I want them to be great forever and ever. So I'm not wishing that on anybody. And I also think a big reason why Heather Dubrow is so sad, and she's talked about this a couple of times, is I think that she regrets not focusing on her own career. And you might be like, well, what does she mean by that? She has all these reality shows and skincare brands. But Heather always wanted to be a serious actress. She wanted to be on scripted shows, TV series, movies, films. She wanted to be an actor, right? And I think that she stopped really following being an actor to support Terry and his businesses and being on reality TV. But then they get botched, then they get their skincare lines, then they're doing the real estate, then they have like their 4 children. And so, yes, kind of looking on the outside, you think, oh, they have everything, they have all this money and all this stuff. But I think money and all of that stuff really doesn't mean anything when you're unfulfilled at your core, when you don't feel like you really went for your purpose, when you don't feel like you have your own identity as yourself. That's why you have millionaires and billionaires unhappy and drugged out and doing all crazy things. And you're like, well, if I had all that money, I'd be so happy. But would you? You know? And I'm not talking bad about having money. I don't think that money is the problem. I think it's just whether or not you are fulfilled as a person is the issue. You could have $10 and be miserable. You could have $10 million and be miserable. You could have $100 and be happy. You could have $100 million and be happy. It's really not about the money. It's about how connected and developed you are within yourself, right? And I think that Heather, maybe it's a midlife crisis type situation, but I think that Heather isn't happy. And I think that's really what is coming across. And then the fact that she aligns herself with Tamra Judge, she's a pick me for her, blindly follows her, believes her lies, goes after Shannon, goes after Gina, goes after blah, all these other people, when your number one enemy is Tamra, when the number one snake that is against you is Tamra. Tamra was the one who went to Katie being like, oh, Gina's only friends with Heather because of the real estate connections. Oh, you know, all of this stuff. Heather's this, Heather's that. That's why when Jenn told Tamra off for Filth this episode, shout out to Jenn, she looked at her and she said, yeah, she's only your friend because she's in your face right now, but she talks about you. Because obviously Tamra talks like about everybody like a dog and pits everybody against each other. And I'm just like, Heather, are you that thirsty to be friends with Tamra Judge? So Heather Dubrow, if you watch this is the guidance I have for you. I don't know who your friends are outside of this cast, because obviously I don't really know you. But I think that you need to find some really good girlfriends, maybe 2 or 3, who are on your level, who are not intimidated by you, who have money the way you do, who is happy, either happy single, happy dating, or happy married, but they're happy. And you need to find those women and have a really good group of women to support you. Because even though you have all this money, I, in my gut, don't think that you're happy. And that's why this season, it's coming off as bitter. It's coming off as mean. It's coming off as a pick me to Tamra, the low self-esteem of it all. And it just makes me sad when Heather Dubrow, you are also that girl. You are, you know, like Heather or you don't like Heather, she's that girl. It is what it is. Heather Dubrow is that girl. She has it. She has it. She just doesn't realize that she has it. She let people who are jealous of her, because that's what it is. Let's call a thing a thing. I'm looking at you, Gina. I'm looking at you, Emily. I'm looking at you, Katie. I'm looking at you, Tamra. I'm looking at you, Emily. You're letting these women who are jealous of you knock you off your spot because you're now looking for their validation rather than standing in the own of who you are. You know, you have Emily having a full down mental breakdown, looking ridiculous out here because you simply said to her, "Oh, bring a pair of jeans to a fashion show." You have Emily out here losing her damn mind. Heather, I just want you to see me, Heather. Emily, shut up. Like, that whole situation was so irritating. And then you had another pick me, weirdo, jealous person, Gina, being like, "Yeah, Heather's just so bad. She doesn't see you. She just spins everything." No, Emily's issues were Emily's issues, and they had nothing to do with Heather. But then you get Gina winding Emily up. So you are that girl. When you're not in the room and everybody's talking about you, you're that girl. When, if you acknowledge them or don't acknowledge them, they're having mental breakdowns, you're that girl. So, Heather, I'm going to need you to buck it up. I need you to get some real good girlfriends who got some good coin, so they're not going to be jealous of you, to truly support you. I'm going to need you to work on yourself, work on your self-esteem, work on your self-love, work on getting your own identity as Heather, not Heather Dubrow with your husband, not Heather the mother, the champion of your children, which is great, but you need to get back to Heather the woman. And you need to start having more fun and stop caring so much about what people who are, quite frankly, simply jealous of you think. And you need to step into your that girl energy. And you need to distance yourself from Tamra, hold her accountable. And I would actually love to see a Shannon Beador, Heather Dubrow duo on the show. I think that energy, if we get Heather with some self-esteem and we get her fun again and happy again, I think her and Shannon would be hilarious together. It would be the duo you didn't know you needed. To me, it would be giving like Heather Gay and Lisa Barlow on Salt Lake City, the duo you didn't know you needed until you needed them. You know what I mean? So that is what I would love to see. So that's kind of why I say this is sort of the demise of Heather Dubrow. And that's what I think her redemption arc could be, finding herself again. Who is Heather Dubrow, the woman? Kick Tamra to the curb and align yourself with Shannon. Get some self-esteem and stop being a pick-me, because you're Heather Dubrow. Okay, now let's get back to the review. Okay, so that was Heather. Tamra. I can't. When I say someone is evil and manipulative and mean and rude and judgmental and jealous and a snake and is delusional, all signs point to Tamra Judge. It's insane. Let's get into her whole, all of a sudden saying that she's, quote, on the spectrum, and that's why she doesn't have empathy and she wanted to check herself into a mental facility. It's giving Raquel Leviss vibes after Scandal, when she was like, "I have to go to a mental health facility and like really work on myself and blah, 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 blah." And it's just like, no, because the problem with that is a lot of things. Number one, and I have the clip of when she says it with her and what's her name, Teddy, which is horrible. But to me, the core issue with this is, and this is just me being an ally, because I am not on the spectrum. So I am not a part of that community. So I cannot speak for that community, but I can speak in support of that community. So as a person who is not a part of the community, but wants to be an ally and support them, the way I look at it is, you're taking an entire community of people and saying, "Oh, I have what they have. That's why I'm an asshole. That's why I'm a jerk. That's why I'm mean. That's why I've been doing all this crazy, evil stuff." How can you equate your toxic, evil psycho, mean, vindictive, vicious, disgusting, psychotic behavior with a mental, emotional disposition. I'm not sure what the correct word is. I want to be respectful and use the right wordage. Diagnosis, right? It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. You know, and it's crazy and it's very, very disrespectful. But let's watch the little video we have of it. Then we'll get into what Vicky had to say and what Kelly Dodd had to say about everything. But let's watch the video. And when we watch the video, I want you to look out for a couple things. Number one, does it look like they're reading from a script? Number two, does it look like they both want to laugh? Like it's a joke for them. Like they're kind of laughing about it. So look out for those things, okay? Let me bring it up.
I just did my first therapy session.
What?
Let's just say I found out something pretty big about myself that I didn't know.
Now I need to know, like, what?
Really?
Yeah.
I am on the spectrum.
Oh my gosh, Tam.
Don't make me cry. My biggest problem is working through trauma that I had in my life. I have a hard time with empathy and feeling other people's feelings.
Well, I always think, why am I not the strong one? So, you know?
I mean, that was so disgusting. They were clearly reading from a script, and two, they clearly looked like they wanted to laugh about it. Now, I also want to bring up the point about her talking about, oh, I have all this trauma and that's why I can't, blah, 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 blah. Number one, your trauma, anybody's trauma, is never an excuse to hurt other people. Everybody on this planet, I don't care who you are, has experienced some form of trauma in their lives. You either have, you're going through it, or you will. It's just literally a part of being a human being. The way you manage that trauma or the capacity or the amount of the trauma obviously can vary, and it's individual person to person as you grow through life and what your situations are, what your circumstances are. But I don't care who you are, you have some form of trauma. That never is an excuse for anybody to be hateful and hurtful and unkind and evil to other people. So number one, your trauma is not an excuse. Everybody has some form of trauma. So knock it off. Number two, shout out to Heather McDonald over at Juicy Scoop. I saw one of her, it was either like an Instagram or a TikTok, and she was saying how people on the spectrum, I think they're like a protected group of people for the American employer, something like that. I'm not exactly sure what the exact name of it was, but some type of American employee organization or something like that, that basically helps to protect people, whether it's like a disability or a medical issue or whatever, or like a mental health issue, whatever the case may be, to protect them from biases and discrimination at the workplace. So you're not being fired simply because you're on the spectrum or you have a certain disability or you need something else. So it's put into place to protect people, to protect the vulnerable, to protect people who might otherwise be discriminated against or taken advantage of. And so Heather McDonald said, Tamra's coming out and saying this because she's scared she's going to get fired. So the only reason why she's coming out and saying this is because now she wants to be protected under this clause or organization or, whatever it is. She wants protection under that so that Bravo or NBC can't fire her. She can then claim, oh, discrimination, you're firing me because I'm on the spectrum. Thank you. The 88 Americans with Disabilities Act. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Ms. Jules FL. I hope I said your name correctly. Beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that she would use that as a way to save her job because she got so much backlash is so disgusting. But again, that's just who she is. She's just rotten to her core. I never liked Tamra, ever. I always thought she was just mean and rude. And you know what it is about Tamra and people like her that really grinds my gears? It's when you can see in their face that they are getting pleasure out of causing other people harm. It's sadistic. You can see in Tamara's face that she enjoys it. That when she gets under somebody's skin, when she gets Shannon to pop off and storm off, when she gets Jenn to sort of go into herself and not say anything and look really sad, when she gets Heather to be embarrassed and uptight and all of this stuff, she gets a kick out of it. That is sick. Like, that is psychotic and sick and sadistic to me. And they need to throw out Tamra and Teddy. They need to take, everybody does not deserve a podcast. Teddy is just as bad. Oh, what, Tam? Oh, really? Really? What did you say? Oh, you can talk to me about it, Tamra. I'm not reading from the script. I'm not holding back laughter. It's really like they got together and they're like, how can I save my job? Let's do this skit and say I'm on the spectrum. So then Bravo can't fire me because of the ADA Act. Sick. Absolutely sickening. Sick. So Vicky came out, shout out to Vicky OG, says she's making a mockery, which I agree. And I also think Vicky had a really valid point. So Tamra had the loudest opinion. It's my opinion. When Vicky was dating Brooks, although valid opinion, and Brooks who also faked cancer to get out of being accountable for his actions. Same difference. Tamra, you're faking, and allegedly, because again, I'm not her doctor, but this is what she's come out and said. Allegedly, she's faking being on the spectrum because she has come out now kind of pushing back, she's peddling, oh, I had the one session with the therapist and we talked about it for 15 minutes, 2-hour session. Oh, she said I had, things that were, so now she's reeling it back because I think she thought that, well, if I say I am on the spectrum or something like that, then I become untouchable. No one can say to me, what I'm doing is wrong, or no one can push back because I'm very similar to Whitney Rose in Salt Lake City. Weaponizing their trauma and their healing and their mental health journey. Oh, the moment I say anything about mental health, I become untouchable, which is so disgusting and not true because we see each other. Okay, boo-boo? We see each other. We know what is up. So it's totally disgusting to use that. Kind of went up on a tangent there. But yeah, it's like Tamra, it's horrible, but she's always done that. Oh, that's right. We're talking about Brooks. So it's the same difference, right? So Brooks, who is a con artist, narcissistic scam man, con Vicky out of so much money just to be on the show, just to be famous and to get access to her money, complete con artist, faking cancer to get out of being accountable for his actions. Tamra, in my opinion, faking being on the spectrum to not be accountable for her actions. Same thing. You're using a community of people who are vulnerable and disenfranchised as cover and shield to get you out of being accountable for your horrific actions. And I am happy that Shannon showed Jenn the receipts on you, that you allegedly did the whole background check on Ryan, which I believe. And then trying to split hairs. No, it wasn't a background check. It was about the mortgage and whether or not he did. We saw the screenshot. It said, can you do a background check on this guy? Okay. We saw the screenshot, sweetheart. Get out of here. Knock it off. And then we had Heather Dubrow going, she did some interview, like the behind the scenes or whatever on Bravo, being like, Well, I just didn't understand why Shannon waited 2 years. They were back in 2022. Heather, pipe down and please get some self esteem. You don't need to be Tamara's mouthpiece. If I am Shannon Beador with the way Tamara has treated me, I am going back to 2012, 2002, 1992, 1982, 1972, 1952. I'm going as far back as I need to go to check this chick. And what Shannon was doing was saying, listen, Jen, this woman keeps coming after you and after you and after you, and you keep forgiving her and taking it. We need to come together. And how is that any different than what Tamara does? When Tamara goes to everybody and says, Shannon's a liar, Shannon's a drunk, Shannon owes the money, Shannon. How is that any different? So shout out to Shannon for getting a backbone, getting the receipts, and being like, let's go toe to toe. Now, I do think that with the reunion, I think we're going to be disappointed because people are saying that Tamra and Shannon kind of have a come to Jesus moment. There might be some reconciliation there. We'll see if that reunion moment lasts, because I feel like now that we're seeing more of the backlash, now that we're seeing more of everything come out, I hope Shannon doesn't drink the Kool-Aid and go back to being Tamra's friend in any capacity. But I think if that happens at the reunion, I feel bad for Shannon because I think Shannon might get some backlash for that. It's going to be like, wait a minute, we rode for you all season. This woman did you so dirty, and now all of a sudden it's kumbaya. I don't think so. I would feel some type of way. So I hope it's not a true reconciliation at the reunion, and I hope Shannon doesn't go back and get back with her. But that's kind of where I land on the whole situation with Tamra and Shannon and Vicky and Kelly saying that, Tamra needs to be fired. I agree. I do think Tamra needs to be fired. Another reason why Tamra needs to be fired is, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth, because she said she wanted to be like Lisa Rinna. I believe in manifestation. You speak it, it becomes. You want to be Lisa Rinna. Lisa Rinna got what? Fired. Ding dong, the witch is dead. So you wanted to be Lisa? Well, then you're Lisa and you're going to get fired. And soon you're going to be like, I wrote Bravo an email telling them that I was ready to leave. It was my choice to leave. And then you're going to have NBC, Bravo. Oh, it was a mutual decision not to renew. Everybody knows that's code for you got fired. Girl, bye. How can it be a mutual decision not to girl? Stop. So yeah, you wanted to be Lisa Rinna, you got her, boo-boo. You got her. So also a big thing with Tamra is she loves to, talk about everybody, but she never takes any accountability for the stuff in her life, like what's going on with her estranged daughter. I don't want to get too far into that because I don't want to get too dark, but she has an opinion on Jenn and how Jen's going to take care of her kids when you're not in a position to take care of your own children. Work on getting, Sydney back in your life. What's going on with your other kids. Your son, Ryan, I don't know what's going on with him. He's always been a little scary to me. Like Ryan to me looks like, I don't know. He looks like he's got some stuff going on there. And a lot. It's just a lot. But yeah, I think that, yeah, work on your own children. Work on, in Ryan's words, in Jen Ryan's word, work on soft Eddie. I'm not saying soft in a way to be disrespectful towards anybody's sexuality. I don't mean it that way. I'm just regurgitating what Ryan had called Eddie. Work on your marriage, because it doesn't seem like everything is up to snuff there, and you were saying, oh, Eddie runs multi-million businesses. Where, who, and what? I'm confused. What does Eddie do? Don't sit and lie in my face talking about some CBD company or some supplement company. Knock that off. Eddie is not making multi-million dollars with that. Stop it. That's like, I make $1 million in crypto. Do you? Liar. I make $1 million in CBD. Liar. Why did he run away to Big Bear, where you guys live now? What's going on with that? He's in Big Bear and you're in the OC. Is that a separation you don't really want to talk about? What is going on with, and to me, to be honest with you, Eddie and Ryan's fight seemed like it was a fight between two lovers. How Eddie was so, and again, I don't mean that to be disrespectful to anybody's sexual orientation. I want to be very clear. Over here with the Candy Canes, we don't care how you get down how you get down, love who you love, do what you do. We are all inclusive over here. So when I say that, I just mean that's how it comes across as that. I don't mean that to be as a slander or by any means like that. So I make that abundantly clear. I'm just saying that Eddie and Ryan, their energy, the way that they were like fighting and going back and like doing shots at each other, I was like, what happened with y'all? Because it seemed more like two lovers had a falling out and now they're trying to go at each other. Do you know what I mean? It was like that, like, oh, well, I didn't like you anyway, or you were never good in bed anyway, or you broke anyway, or I was just like, I'm super confused. And then when Tamra getting wasted and jumping in, this is the thing. I always think it's a bad look both ways. When a man gets into a woman's face, sort of like, think about like Brooks and Tayleen's husband, I'm like, oh, all that stuff over in Dubai. I always think it's a bad look when a man gets into a woman's face or a man gets into women's business. But I also think that it's also very slimy and weird when a woman is wasted like Tamra was and her so-called friend Jenn. And by so-called friend Jenn, that's not a diss to Jenn, that's just to Tamra, because she's clearly not Jenn's friend, is being so highly disrespectful to her friend's man or husband in her face like that. You know what I mean? That's also very weird and rubs me the wrong way. Like, don't come at my man like that while I am sitting here. You address me, don't address my man. You're my friend. You have an issue with something going on. You can talk to me, Tamra. I'm right here. You don't need to address my man. That's kind of what I'm getting at. You know what I'm saying? Finally, at least in this episode, Jenn found her voice and had a backbone. So that's kind of what I'm feeling with Tamra. I think my final thoughts on Tamra is, I think she's lying about being on the spectrum. I think it was highly disrespectful to that community. And I think that she should be fired for that and just for how she's been this entire season. Berating people and lying on people and being toxic and being rude and just making the energy dark. Tamra, it's enough. So Tamra, you can be Lisa Rinna and you can be fired. Bye-bye. So let's get back to the review with the other ladies. Okay, now let's talk about Gina in the casita. So Gina was just on Watch What Happens Live, and I guess Travis was with her backstage. Gina, why are you still with Travis? I'm confused. I don't think Gina is into Travis like that. I don't think she respects him. I don't think she's sexually attracted to him. She basically kicked him and his kids out the house because his ex-wife or soon-to-be ex-wife, whatever their situation is, was very toxic and weird. There's allegations that she pushed him down the stairs when she was drunk. Again, allegations. And she was also saying how like she's making more money now, and so it's hard. And I think that this is really valid. It's hard to be like, well, I'm making more money, but I'm only going to spend it on my kids, but not all of the kids. That I do think would be really, really hard when you're not married to someone and your financial situation changes and theirs hasn't. And it's hard to be like, well, I'm only going to spend really nice on my children, but not on all of the children. I do think that's really hard. And I commend her for being mindful enough to think of that. My question is, why are you still with him? Because I don't think Gina respects him. That's just kind of the gist I get. It's like, if you're going to go as far as to separate living situations, you might as well just take the next step to separate, because isn't that the direction you're going? You know what I mean? So I don't know. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I have been saying since day one, I think Gina and Emily weren't great hires. I think that they kind of brought the OC down. I don't know. I don't like their personalities that much. I don't think they really bring that much to the show. They're kind of just a bunch of negative, and I'll just loop Emily in with this with Gina. I just think that they both are kind of negative Nancy's. They talk about everybody, they misunderstand things, they're in their feelings 99% of the time. Emily having mental breakdowns about a fashion show was absolutely ridiculous. Blaming every single thing in the world on Heather Dubrow, absolutely ridiculous. Gina, her whole vibe, absolutely ridiculous. I would not be mad. To be honest with you, I like Jenn better than I like Gina and Emily as an addition. At least she has something interesting going on. At least she's finding her voice and now she has an arc, you know? To me, Gina and Emily have been rinse, wash, and repeat. I'm tired of hearing about Emily's weight. I'm not being insensitive. All I'm saying is you can't keep blaming everybody else for how you feel about yourself. As an adult, you have to take responsibility for how you feel about you. And you can't keep blaming everybody else for how you feel about yourself. I don't care who you are in this world, there will be some quote societal norm or societal standard that you feel you can't achieve, whether it's, you know, looking a certain way or having a certain amount of money or living in a certain apartment or living in a certain house or having a certain car, or, you know, sometimes it's being super skinny, sometimes it's having a BBL, sometimes it's having straight hair, sometimes having naturally curly hair, sometimes it's blah, 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 blah. There's so many of those things in the world that you as your own person has to decide, I don't care about any of that. I choose to love me as I am. So that way you're not so affected because somebody said, oh, bring your own jeans. Because number one, jeans are hard to fit. If I'm in a fashion show and they say, Candy, bring your own jeans, I'm relieved because I'm like, oh my God, that's great. I can bring jeans that fit me. I feel comfortable in. Jeans are hard, okay? And then she put you in the same dress as Alexis. That is a you problem, Emily, not a Heather problem or anybody else's problem. You know, if you're a size 12, you're a size 12. Who cares? Sometimes I buy a size medium or large because I like the fit. When they said an oversized jacket, that is the stylistic term. Oversized is a stylistic term. It just means baggier, oversized. It doesn't mean that you, the person, is oversized. I love an oversized sweatshirt. I'm probably wearing one right now. I love an oversized blazer. It's a style. It's not a statement on your body type. It actually has nothing to do with your body type. Oversized is a style. It's like a bell bottom. If they were like, Emily, you're going to wear bell bottoms, would you be that mad about it? Like, are you that? Would you be like, oh, I can't believe you. You think I look like a bell? Like, what? It's like, it's so annoying to watch because it takes away from when people truly are being targeted or, you know, talked down about or treated differently because of the way they look, whatever that may be, whether it's hair, whether it's a microaggression, whether it's skin color, whether it's sexual orientation, whether it's body size. Unfortunately, that still exists in our society where people really are discriminated against for those things by simply existing how they are. But in this case, it was wildly ridiculous to me. Wildly ridiculous. You know what I mean? And then to have Gina be like, yeah, you know, Heather she just can't see you. She's just way up here. And then that's tired. Like, did we not get, excuse me, 1 second, guys. Gina's ghost is coming to get me. Woo! But that's tired. Like, did we not get enough of that last season? Of like, let's just blame Heather for every single thing and just be a hater for every single thing. It's too much. It's absolutely too much. So that's kind of where I land with both Gina and Emily. What new storyline do either of them have? Nothing. What new personality trait do they have that make them interesting? Nothing. I would not be mad if Gina and Emily got let go. I would be fine with that. I want them to bring on people. I think the OC needs a refresh. I want them to bring on women who are wealthy, 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 because the OC, baby, is money, okay? It's money down. I want to see those money down people, not the weirdos like Elizabeth Vargas. I know some people liked her. I thought she was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs on a different planet, which is fine, but I didn't find it enjoyable to watch in this particular context. I want to see people money down, like the Heather Dubrows, but I need them to have a Lisa Barlow energy, a Karen Huger energy, where they just show up, even a Mary Cosby energy, where they just show up and they're just like, this is who I am. It is what it is. What, baby? Bow down. Let's get it popping and dipping it and doing it. That's what we need. Even a Vicki Gunvalson energy, where she's just like, we want to fan, and she is who she is. But this sort of like having these housewives who have such low self-esteem and low self-worth, and they're just jealous people and negative Nancy's, is why the season is not good. It's a wrap. I think that they've ran their course, and I'm done with it. Okay, let's talk about Jenn. Jennifer, to be honest with you, I'm surprised they gave her a second season. I think she probably got a second season because they probably had rumblings about Ryan and the FBI and fraud. We all know Bravo loves a fraud case. They probably got rumblings of that. So like, let's bring her on. Let's get her on camera. We know Tamra will carry that bone back and bring it to the show. So they probably brought her back for that. They also probably brought her back because they probably lazy casting. They probably couldn't find anybody else in time, like another person to bring on. Because I'm happy that Jenn now is finding her voice, but I don't think she deserved to come back after last season, if that makes sense. So it is what it is with Jenn. I like Jenn. I think she's really sweet. I think she's a really nice person. I think she's funny and kind. She's a great mom. And she's genuine and she's authentic. I'm really liking Jenn. I like Jenn better than I like Gina and Emily, to be perfectly honest with you. And I was watching, I think Shannon was on Watch What Happens Live, and I forget the name of the person who was the co-guest with her. It was some woman who's in politics or something. And they were talking about Jenn and how, some question about how, Ryan takes care of Jenn now and her dad takes care of her. And the woman was such a hater and was like, oh, the privilege of it all. Like she had her daddy and her dad to help her and her father, and now Ryan and her, all these blah, blah, blah. Look, sweetheart, there is no glory in the struggle bus. There is no glory in having to do it all by yourself on your own. There's not. Point blank, period. It has been glorified. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, it has been glorified to have, women struggle, make it on their own and blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to be very clear I'm going to clarify this just for any confusion. I do not mean that a woman should not have her own, because I do. I do think that you should always have your own little nest egg, your own little pot over here, that in case anything goes down, you're able to have something to fall back on. You're able to have something to stand on, that if one day Ryan wakes up and he's done with you, you and your kids aren't going to be on the street. A woman always should have her own in that sense, 1000%. However, there is absolutely nothing wrong with your man 100% taking care of you and your kids. What is a man for? Protect and provide. So me personally, I thought that woman was a very bitter Betty. I thought she was very toxic, and I thought that she was kind of just like a hater. It's not the privilege of it all. I believe in, as women, we are born with our divine feminine. Just because we exist, we are worthy and we are enough, And there's nothing wrong with a father taking care of his daughter and making sure she's good. There's nothing wrong with a man taking care of his woman and kids that are not even his, and making sure they're good. That's not privilege. That should be the right of every woman in the world. And I know now, not being like, I'm just saying woman, you know what I mean? I think that every woman, it should be our right that our fathers take care of us. It should be our right that the men we choose to give our bodies to and our life to and our love to and our support to take care of us and our children. That's not a privilege. That's a right. The problem is it's been so bastardized and it's been so glorified in the struggle and all of this stuff that we think that it's a privilege that the man in your life takes care of you. And that's really sad to me. It should be our right as women that our fathers take care of us and our men take care of us. But don't get me twisted. I don't mean that you blindly, without having your own, to fall back on. Sure, he may take care of all the bills and everything. That's great. But make sure when he's getting you that $2,000 Dolce & Gabbana dress, maybe you hold on to that receipt in case you ever need to return it and get that money back, or if something happens. Have your own side savings account. If he's taking care of all the bills, start your own side hustle. Start, being a content creator, or start doing something, or maybe do some real estate. I don't know, whatever floats your boat. Sell pottery. I don't know. Whatever it is, and then start having your own on the side. So yes, you can be taken care of, but be smart and mindful about it. And so I'm not mad at Jenn that she's allowed men to take care of her. The part that worries me about Jenn is that she's missing the part where she has her own contingency plan. Because you could be married to a man and he could wake up one day and like what happened to what's her face? What's that woman's name? The actress? She woke up, she went to her house and all the locks were changed. And so she started auctioning off all her jewelry and all this stuff to get back at the ex-husband because he locked her out the house. You could be married to a man, you could have bore his biological children, and he could still kick your butt straight to the curb. Okay? So I'm not mad at Jenn for allowing men, which is what they should do, to take care of you. The part that troubles me with Jenn is she's missing the component of her own womanhood, in the sense of, I'm still going to make sure that if a rainy day happens to come, I got my nest egg and I'm going to be okay and my kids will be okay because I've been saving on the side in a smart way to have my own stuff. Like Shawnee O'Neal. Shawnee O'Neal didn't have to work. So when she was married to Shaquille O'Neal, she started doing real estate. She started doing other stuff. So she had all these investments so that when they did break up, sure, she had her divorce money, but she also had her own money too. So I think that's more what the message should be. It's not that you have to be hyper independent as a woman and don't rely on nobody, because that's very toxic and unhealthy and unhealed, and quite frankly goes against your birthright as a woman. But it is your divine right to be taken care of and cherished, but also be smart and have your own. Okay? Now I'll get off my soapbox about that. Now, Jenn showing up and telling and reading Tamra for filth, and Tamra had nothing to say in return, was classic, gold, iconic, receipts, timeline, screenshots. I loved it all. Loved it all. There's a special place in hell for Tamra Judge. Did you clock that she said, I swear on my children's lives, I never gave him a background check? And then in the next breath, she said, oh, it was just for like a mortgage or something. So Tamra, number one, you knew exactly what Jenn was talking about. Number two, you knew that you did it. Number three, you had no problem saying you swore on your children's lives that it wasn't true. That is next level crazy cuckoo doodle doo time, okay? Next level crazy cuckoo doodle doo. You swore on your children's lives knowing it was a lie. I can't even say you thought it was the truth. I can't even say that you forgot. Because in the next breath, and you had that smirk on your face, you were like, no, it's just for a mortgage. It's trying to split hairs like people are stupid. I don't think so, Tam Tam. I really don't think so. So Jenn, I'm going to need you to keep this energy. I'm going to need you to keep your voice, and I'm going to need you to not forgive Tamra. Don't give her a second chance, and, be mindful. Yeah, let Ryan pay for everything. Let him support you and your kids. But when you're getting these $2,000 dresses and you're getting all these trips, figure out a way to convert that into cash or into equity that you can then have if one day he decides he's ready for something else. Or if one day you decide you're ready for something else. It's not always the man who wants to leave. So you don't feel trapped, right? So that's what I would say to you, Jenn. Keep your voice, and then also don't sign anything with Ryan. I don't know what's going on with this alleged FBI stuff, bookies. I don't know. I didn't do a deep dive into it because I personally don't care. But just be careful. I wouldn't put anything in your name. I wouldn't sign any documents. Just be careful, okay? Keep yourself, clean. All right, Katie. Katie, I don't know what you guys think. Put it in the chat. Do you like Katie? Because I don't. I don't like Katie. I think she's boring. I don't think her husband likes her very much. I was very confused why she came out the gate basically before the season even started, gunning for Heather Dubrow. Like, what was the reason for that? Like, I'm confused. Like, did you think you needed to come in going for Heather with the whole, like, I have a friend at Disney who could talk about the paparazzi? Like, Katie, why, who, and what? Like, first of all, whether or not Heather called the paparazzi at Disneyland is irrelevant, doesn't matter. Who cares? Everybody calls backward on themselves. That's not some big woo revelation. And number two, Katie, who are you? Who are you? Why do you care? Why do you, Katie, care what Heather Dubrow did or did not do regarding her marriage and how it affected her children having those rumors out there? Like, I'm super confused. Like, why was that any of your business? Also, Katie, why are you so up Tamra's butt and Gina's butt? Well, you were up Gina's butt until Gina, tossed you to the curb to protect her relationship with Heather. Like, I'm just confused with Katie. I think she's really boring. I know that her and Jenn are really good friends now, but I think Katie is boring. I don't really think she has an engaging personality. I don't think that she's funny. She can't read. She can't shake. Like, I don't know what Katie brings to the table other than they tried to get some diversity on the OC. And you guys know how I feel about diversity hires. When it makes sense, 100%, but when you just do it blindly, it's disrespectful to us. Like, excuse me, Anyway, yeah, Katie with me. I'm not feeling Katie at all. I don't even really know what else to say about Katie other than she's a one and done. She gives me Anna Marie vibes from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, where she kind of harps on something and she goes on and on and on about it. She's kind of a mouthpiece and a wound up doll, doesn't really have her own personality, is very bland. And I like that she's talking about her adoption story and finding her birth parents. I think that's like really interesting. And she bonds with Jenn over that because Jenn has adopted her son. So I like all that. Like, that's all good. That's all wholesome. But I don't think that's enough to carry her as a housewife. I don't really know why she's there. I don't get it. She doesn't really seem to be friends with anybody, like, other than Jenn right now, because now they're close. Gina threw her under the bus in 0.2 seconds and was like, I don't know you, Katie, like that. Get my name out your mouth. And this was another thing. Again, Tamra was the one getting in people's ear. Tamra was the one who went to Katie and was like, oh, Gina set you up with the whole Heather paparazzi thing. No, she didn't. This is what happened. Gina and Katie were talking crap about Heather. That's just, it is what it is. They were probably talking crap about her way before filming started. So Katie was under the impression she could talk crap about Heather and Gina was going to be her little ride or die because they were probably kikiing and hating on Heather before everything started, okay? Katie told Gina about the whole paparazzi thing and all that. Gina said to Katie, don't say anything. Don't bring it to the show because Heather would be really mad and that will not end well for you. Cut to filming. They're filming. Katie, ding dong Katie, because we need ding dong to read, ding dong Katie or cuckoo Katie, whatever you want to call her, decides she's going to bring it to the show when she starts talking about it. And that's when Gina's like, whoa, oh no, oh crap, because Gina knows you've been talking about Heather like a dog to Katie all summer before filming starts. And now Katie, being thirsty as hell, wanting a moment, is now spilling the beans. And that's when Gina goes, okay, well, now that you've said it on camera, now you have to tell Heather what you said. That's what happened. Tamra goes back and talks to Katie, who I don't know why she doesn't have two brain cells in her head, and is like, Gina set you up and told you to tell Heather and that because she hates Heather and she's only friends with Heather because of her real estate connections and she really hates Heather, but she was setting you up because she wants to take Heather down. No, Tamra, you hate Heather. You think that Gina is disposable. You think Katie is disposable, and you're the one who really wants to take Heather down because you're jealous. And you don't respect Gina or Katie, so you're using them like pawns. And then Katie, with her two brain cells not working, goes, oh my God, Gina set me up. No, she didn't. You set yourself up, Katie, because number one, who told you to reach out to somebody at Disney World, Disneyland, whatever the hell it was, to get tea on Heather? Nobody asked you to do that. You did that yourself. So you did this. Nobody else did this. And Gina said to you straight up, don't bring it to the show. Heather is going to take you down if you bring it to the show. And now you are looking around like Boo Boo the Fool, wondering why Heather Dubrow doesn't rock with you and doesn't talk to you and doesn't want to be around you. If I was Heather, I would act the same exact way. To be honest with you, Heather was kinder to you than I would have been, because I don't know you from anybody in this world, from a ham sandwich, and you're doing all of this recognizance on me. The same way how Tamra, even though Tamra knows Jenn, again, even that's a bigger betrayal, doing a background check on her man and doing all this stuff about her man's business. Why? It's the obsession. It's the single white female. It's the psychoticness. It's the sadisticness of it all. It's really, really crazy. Katie, for me, you're a one and done. I don't really know why you're on the show. If you literally were not on the show, nothing would change. That's how you know you're disposable on the show. Okay. Last but not least, Alexis Bellino. The little Alexis that couldn't. Okay. I don't even know what to say about Alexis. It's just sad and pathetic to me. Like, she came in hot, thinking that she was going to take down Shannon and redeem John Jansen and all this stuff. And again, Tamra was right in her ear, winding her up, putting all this stuff in her box, thinking, I got Tamra on my side. The problem is, and this happens, and we've seen this happen a lot, when you don't like someone, you sometimes lose perspective on how much they are beloved or liked by others. So because Tamra hates Shannon, and I do mean hates, because you don't treat somebody the way you treat Shannon unless you hate them. So Tamra hates Shannon and dislikes her. To be honest with you, I don't think Alexis dislikes Shannon. I think that there is some type of infatuation or obsession there. You don't participate in not one, but two lawsuits against the same woman unless there is some type of infatuation there. Obviously, there's different cases for different things, but in this particular case, there's some type of infatuation there. I don't think Alexis dislikes Shannon. I think Alexis is low-key obsessed, like actually wants to be her friend, actually wants to be a part of her world, but she's doing it in such a toxic and weird, crazy psycho way that it's only like an unhealthy infatuation, stalker type stuff, right? Whereas I think Tamra actually has a disdain and a hatred towards Shannon that is very, very deep and very, very evident. So again, you have Tamra in Alexis's ear gassing her up because you hate this person so much. You have tunnel vision. You disregard the fact that they're actually beloved and liked by a lot of people. That Shannon from Beador has become a fan favorite and beloved on the OC. I love Shannon. We all are rooting for Shannon. We're all team Shannon. We see Tamra for who she is. We see Heather is going through something. Alexis is a ding dong bat, needs to go back to whatever cave she was in before she got on the show. John Jansen clearly is a narcissist, and I think that he preys again. Well, in my opinion, he preys on women who are vulnerable and going through a tough time. He got with Shannon when she was fresh out of her divorce from David Beador, clearly going through it, not in a good place, in a very vulnerable place. He got with Alexis right when her mother had passed away. So she's clearly in a very vulnerable place. You know, losing a parent, especially a mother, if you're close to them, is horrible. I can't imagine it. I won't ever want to go through that. I can't even think about it. And you can, when Alexis talks about it, you see she's still mourning it and she's still in it. I think that he has narcissistic tendencies. I'm not a doctor, I don't diagnose, but I think that he smells blood in the water when it comes to women who are going through it. And he comes in as this sort of savior complex. You know, with Shannon, he made her feel needed. Whether it was, you know, pay for my stuff or do this, he made her earn him. And only a woman who is in a bad place would accept that type of treatment. You know, I think he smelled it. And, you know, thank God Shannon is stronger now. It seems like she knows her worth. She's in therapy, working at herself, and she sees him for who he is, which is great. And I think he smelled the same thing on Alexis, because Alexis may not be earning him with money. Who knows? We don't really know who truly is spending the money in their relationship. We don't know. We know Shannon spent a lot of money on him, and he wants to act like this little 75K is really doing something. Like, get out of here, homeboy. That little 75K ain't doing nothing. Get out of here. You're doing it because you are wanting to humiliate her. Anyway, but he's making Alexis earn him, maybe not through money, but through being his bulldog, being his bodyguard, being his mouthpiece. She is earning him because every single scene, his name is in her mouth. Every single scene, she's going to bat for him. She's saying how good he is. She's evangelizing for him. She's, you know, trashing Shannon, trying to bring Shannon down to bring John up. He is making her earn him. But she doesn't understand that. He is doing the same exact thing to Alexis that he did to Shannon. He's just doing it through a different means. Shannon earned him through money and through bringing him on the show. Alexis is earning him by being his mouthpiece and his bulldog. She's earning that spot of his girlfriend, his this, that, the most beautiful, blah, 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 blah. She's earning him by doing all of his dirty work. But she doesn't even, blinders on, she doesn't even see that. You know what I mean? And it's really sick and sad. And I do think that, I do think Alexis has an infatuation with Shannon. That if Shannon actually said, let's be friends, she'd be like, oh my God, let's braid each other's hair and do sleepovers. Like Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs type stuff. You know what I mean? But that's where I really think is going on there. So that's kind of where I land with all of the women. Overall, I am 100% team Shannon. I think this is her redemption season. She's doing great. I hope she stays good with her and Vicky and them doing their show. Next season, I would love to see Shannon, if she is ready, because again, with like, you know, the drinking stuff and everything else, depending on if she's in a program, I don't know, maybe she'll be, who knows. I would love to see her dating, but only if it's authentic and only if she is in a mental and emotional space to date in a healthy way. Because just because you're single doesn't mean you are in a good spot to be dating. So I would love to see Shannon dating with like really like hot, rich guys who like really take care of her and put, you know, give her like really fun, crazy dates. And she has all these great stories. I would love to see that, Shannon. I think that would be really cool. But again, only if she is in a place to enjoy it and to be happy and to be pampered and to be taken care of. I want to see her thriving and having a lot of fun. So I'm here for Shannon all day long. Heather, like I said before, I think Heather's going through it. I don't think she's happy. I think she's really sad. I want to see Heather get her joy back. You know, the light in her has kind of, even in this photo, this light in her has kind of dimmed out. I want to see Heather Dubrow get her joy back. I want to see her have some rich friends and who truly support her. I want to see her as her, not as Terry's wife, not as the kid's mom, not as the business partner. I want to see Heather happy and thriving. And I would love to see Heather and Shannon together. Tamra, I want to see her fired, and that's it. Gina can be fired as well. I don't think she brings anything to the show except for being a negative Nancy and a jealous Julie. Same thing with Emily. She can be fired too. I don't know what Emily really brings to the show. She talks with such a way that you think she actually knows what she's talking about, or you think that what she's saying is true. But if you actually really listen to Emily, the majority of the time, it's all just speculation and things she's made up in her own head that she then regurgitates as if it is true. And then she causes chaos between people. So Emily, you can exit stage left. Jenn, I want her to stay. I want to see her journey. I want to see what happens with Brian. Is there an FBI case? I want to know. I want to know what happens here. I want to see her thrive. I think she has a lot more to offer. She has a fresh perspective, a fresh story that nobody on the show really has with like the kids and all that stuff. So I'm really interested in Jenn. I'm happy she found her voice. I hope she keeps speaking up and keeps going after Tamra. Hopefully Tamra's fired, but I want to see more of her. Katie can be a one and done for me. I don't really know what she brings to the show. I don't think her husband likes her very much. The way he looks at her is like annoyed all the time. Anytime somebody makes a joke and says, my husband has a mistress, even though she's like, oh, his mistress is golf. Anytime somebody makes a joke with that at all, whether it is a mistress of work or golf or his friends or whatever the case may be, red flag, red flag, red flag. To me, whether or not he actually has a quote mistress, doesn't really matter. To me, what that means is when somebody says that, what they really mean is, I am not my husband's number one priority. That there are things or people who he clearly prioritizes over me. I come second to, or maybe third, or maybe fourth, or maybe not even at all to X, Y, and Z. I come after golf. I come after work. I come after hanging with the boys. I come after sports. I come after his band, whatever it is. That's a huge red flag. Basically what you're saying is I feel neglected and I don't feel prioritized and I don't feel like he pays attention to me. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on with them. Who knows? Katie, stop it. And then she also, it's like, that's another thing. It's like that quote. It's like, when you come for the king, you better not miss. Same thing. When you come for the queen, you better not miss. I know Heather is having a moment and she's not her best right now. But Heather, whether you like her or don't, she's still that girl. She is. Hands down, she's flipping $50 million houses in her sleep. I'm sorry. She's that girl. Whether you like her or not, she's that girl. You got to give it to her, even though she is going through something right now. So you came for the queen and you missed, you fumbled terribly. So bye-bye, Katie. Alexis, bye-bye as well. I don't think you being engaged to to John Jansen is enough to save you. You did nothing this season except for make a damn fool of yourself. You did nothing this season but make Shannon's star shine brighter. Because to be honest with you, Shannon a big reason why she's shining so brightly is because she's shining so brightly against your darkness and Tamra's darkness. You know, a candle is so much brighter in a dark room than it is in the light. So she's shining so brightly because y'all are so freaking dark. So I'm done with Alexis. She doesn't need to come back. See ya. So that's kind of where I land on it. You guys, as always, I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, comment your thoughts. What do you think about the girls? Yeah. So with that, I will drop the link in case anybody wants to come up and chat with me. If not, no worries at all.